Welcome to LaunchPad. Thanks for calling out from the City of Angels.
Thank you. I love
good.
Los Angeles.
Great to see you again. And
Nice
you're saying it's good to be back in Santa Barbara.
I love Santa Barbara, and I love the school. I love your classes. So thank you for inviting me.
Welcome. So let's start with the beginning. Tell me sort of your road to Westmont story. How did you find this place, and what made you go, yeah, that's it?
So actually, my counselor from Village Christian told me about Westmont, and she's an alum. And then my teacher, Eileen Henry, who recently passed away, she told me about Westmont too. And my brother went to UCSD, and he told me, don't go to UC. You won't graduate in time. So I said, all right, there goes all 5-6 schools, right? And everyone's going to UC in California. It's just a school to go to. So then I think 2013 was like a big year for going to the East Coast, right? So I applied to a couple schools on the East Coast, like St. John's, Fordham. Even applied to another school called Colgate, which is a liberal arts. Didn't get in there, and so I didn't have a lot of choices in terms of like schools overall. But Westmont was just kind of there as a backup. I thought it was in the East Coast. I'd never heard of Westmont, and then my brother pitched it to me. He said, "Hey, Eric, you can either go to the East Coast and not come home for Thanksgiving, and maybe come for Christmas here and there, or you can stay near home whenever you want to come home. It's only an hour and a half away. It's your choice." So I came here. I said, "Hey, it's a good school. I like the Christian aspect of it, but it wasn't like a burning desire, because I knew wherever I went, they would have campus ministries, right?" So I decided to come here, and that was kind of like my journey. But it was never like Westmont's my big choice. It kind of fell into my place as the months and days went on.
Wow. Okay, so how did your, thinking about that kind of phase in your life, how did your impressions of what college was going to look like match up sort of with your actual college experience, both on the good side and on the bad side?
I think the main thing is you can go to your class without your teachers. You can go to class whenever you want. Your teachers won't really know, and show up for your finals, right? And that was a big mistake at Westmont, because it's a liberal arts college. It's small. The teachers care about you. And so my first week, I missed I think it was only like Monday, Wednesday, Friday. I missed Wednesday and Friday. And my biology teacher said, "Hey, Eric, are you okay?" And I was kind of shocked. I said, "Yeah, I'm fine. I just haven't been feeling well." And that's like an answer you give when you don't show up to class, right? But
I never did that when I was doing here, ever, just to be clear.
Should we call up your teachers? No, just kidding. But I was really taken back by that. Like, they really care. And I actually started showing up, and my poor grades became better grades because just of that interest. So for me, that perception of like college is, you just get a degree. It really depends where you go. And I'm not trying to like say, hey, like Westmont will really care about you all the time. But for me, it was that aspect of they genuinely did. So
awesome. Okay, time machine question. So you're a 2017 grad, just 10-ish months ago or so. So it's May 6th, 2017, your graduation day, and you're about to walk the line and get your diploma. Put yourself in that moment. What were your hopes and your fears about the road ahead for you?
Wow. I want to start with the fears, because I think I was really fear-driven, but everyone saw me as hope-driven. And what I mean by that is I had a lot of fears in the sense of I want this perfect job, and I knew how to describe it to my friends, my roommate Colton, but I didn't even have a job lined up, right? Because I was so picky in the sense of like I have to make a certain amount of money, and it has to fit this category. But I really just didn't know. I really just didn't know where to go. And so for me, it was that fear of like, I know what a good job is, but I have no
Doing
resources.
laundry?
I thought that was my biggest fear. My biggest hope was just really using, the connections that I was given to just ask them, hey, what's a good job to look for? And a lot of them told me, hey, your first job is not going to be the perfect job. And that's the assurance that I got, and that's the hope that I got. And I think that made a lot of change for me.
Well, how did you see that sort of live itself out in the May 6th to June becomes July?
Yeah.
How did that process work for you?
So the good thing is I had a couple friends who offered me property investment / property real estate management jobs, right? And for me, what was great about that was I had a job as a backup, but it wasn't what I really wanted. So it comes May, and it's like that month where you can relax because you graduated, and all the UCs are graduating in June, so you can kind of like wake up at 12 o'clock, or if you're good, a good post grad, you wake up at 10, but it really started to hit me in June. And not to mention, I did have to take one language class to graduate.
Okay.
So I left that part out.
Good.
So technically I didn't start, I didn't have to worry until the end of June.
I see.
But I was still cautious in that mind, And so for me, it was a sense of, I had a job offer possibly in Santa Barbara, but I'm not going to take it because I've taken language. So I had all these like strings attached.
I see.
And so for me, it was like, hey, come July, that was when I started really getting scared. And that's when I really started to hunt.
So think about what's led you to sort of this moment in time. You start at Morgan on Monday. Think about what's led you to this moment in terms of the job you'll be doing with them. Was there a pivot point or a light bulb that went off, or was it an evolving process of just that your classes led to internships, conversations, summer jobs that kind of helped you circle the wagon, if you will, in terms of knowing, oh, that's what I want to pursue?
Okay.
What was that like for you?
I wish they recorded our phone conversation that we had of you calming me down, when I'm like, hey, I don't think I'm gonna get hired. But, for me, the main thing was, first of all, taking the management class really seriously. I was always interested in management because I think it relates to leadership, of course. And so I went in there, and you went in by teaching management and then teaching kind of LinkedIn and then teaching networking. And you didn't have to, right? But it was so helpful that you did that. So I started, taking those little tools. The semester before, I did the downtown program, and I was interning for a guy who was a financial planner. And what's funny is when I was kind of interning, I was like, maybe this isn't exactly what I wanted. I'm not too sure, because it was difficult in terms of just the amount of management that we had to do. And then it came down to just the main part was after I went to career development, and they list out all the jobs or all the different types of skills that I might like. And for me, it was like, wow, like financial advisor, and then it said middle school teacher, and then it said, auditing, right?
Yeah.
But I was really shocked by all those answers because it was just things that people have told me I might be good at, or things that I really disliked. And I remember the biggest thing that stood out to me was he said, look at middle school teacher, and what is that? It means to teach, obviously to be so you can be a financial teacher in a sense. And that blew my mind. But I think the main process was just really taking seriously the amount of resources that you have given us, and then, what can I do with that, And that was the biggest thing, because meeting Cliff and having his network and all those different stages really led up to where I am now, So I'll leave it at that for now.
No, that's great. You touched on it a bit, but how did the broader Westmont community kind of help you forge this? That's where I got to go.
Okay, I think the main thing was it was a breakfast I was invited for with the board of advisors, and I'm pretty sure it was you that invited me. I know it was you because I paid attention well in your class only. No, I'm just kidding. But I got invited to the breakfast, and I sit with Cliff, right? And for me, I'm thinking he's just in charge of this meeting, right? So I kind of got discouraged in the sense of everyone else is having like somebody who's like, I thought they were offering jobs on the table, and then I'm sitting with Cliff. And I'm pretty sure I'm the only one that's gotten a connection or a direct connection through someone through that breakfast.
Right.
And I only say that because after I met with Cliff,
You pursued it.
I pursued it, and he didn't just say, here's a connection. He said, let me see your resume.
He wanted you to earn it.
He wanted me to earn it, right? And he looks at my resume and he goes, okay, we have to work on this, this, and this. And I thought it was a great resume, right? So he goes in and he's just,
Brings his red pen out.
He's bringing red pen out, and I was like so discouraged, right? Because I was like, oh man, like, is he helping me, or am I really like bad at resumes? And then the second time he went over, and the third time, and the fourth time he pulls up his LinkedIn, and he's like, these are the people that I know.
Okay.
What would you like to do? And then I said, somebody in Los Angeles that knows finance. And he reached out and gave me a guy named Keith who graduated a couple years back.
Mhm, yep.
And that connection, led to another connection that landed me the job that I have today.
Yeah.
But I had to work it. I had to earn it. I had to really invest my time. And he did the same. And like, I have to really thank you and Cliff to this day, because I could have just said, hey, thank you for your corrections, and just gone on and applied online and been somewhere else. But
That's kind of what you were talking about earlier. Is you never know what the tide's going to bring in, but the corollary of that is you still got to show up to the beach every single day and see what it brings in.
Yeah.
Talk a bit about how your internships and summer jobs helped you evaluate and pursue kind of where you're at. What was the? I like this. I don't like that.
Mm-hmm.
Talk about that.
I was fortunate enough to be one of the first groups to be in the Westmont downtown program, and that taught me a lot about social entrepreneurship, about being innovative. But what was helpful was the internship aspect, and I look back and I was so new to it. I was late. I didn't know like what is an internship like. I didn't know what I'm going to be doing.
Yeah.
So for me, working for a former Westmont alum, and then just seeing what he does as a financial planner really helped me. And I think it's that Westmont connection. Having someone who's a Westmont alum kind of guide me through the process, and really having the patience to develop the character and the skills that I have now. And that was the biggest thing. And then the other thing was also working during campus, or working while I was at school, which was at Wells Fargo. And that was really tough because they genuinely don't accommodate to a Westmont schedule, in the sense of that Westmont has like different class periods at various times. So I might be going to work right after my 12 o'clock class. But it was a lot of learning. Yeah.
Good. Okay, so fast forward to today. You start with Morgan Stanley on Monday, and it was a really long hiring process.
Yeah.
And you're all you want. There's this balance between waiting on God's timing and then going after what you want.
Yeah.
Tell me about this process of you having to just wait a little bit, push a little bit, wait a little bit. How did that unfold for you, and how did you stay on their radar and yet cope with sort of the uncertainty of not hearing for a while?
Okay. This is, first of all, getting hired by Morgan Stanley has been just amazing to hear from, and to be part of their financial advisor program. I want to start off by saying I think I'm thankful for the guidance that I had and the coaching, from you, from Cliff, from my mentors at Westmont, because I was told two things, which was lower your standards, and the second thing was how did you get there, right? So one side of it, people are telling me to lower my standards, telling me that to become a financial advisor, you have to be 30 years old or something like that. And on the other aspect, people are telling me, oh, how did you get that job, right? And for me, I don't know how I got that job either, right? When I trace back, it really had to start with each meeting that I had with you and Cliff and each person. And then when I got through the interview process, the first one was just submitting my resume, then doing a video interview. And video interviews are genuinely hard, I would say, because I can't gauge the person because it's a camera.
Hard to read
right?
the room, yeah.
And I don't know if you're interested in me or not, you know, because this camera is just recording you, and you have to answer the question. And you're sitting there trying to be, you know, you're trying to articulate yourself. You're trying to express who you are, and it's just yourself, right? And after that one, I had so much doubt. I said, wow, they're gonna fly by my interview. Then the second one was a phone interview, and I was like, okay, that kind of saved me there. You know, I don't want to oversell myself and say, hey, this is who I am. This is why I should be working here. And it finally got to that point, the in-person interview, and that was the biggest thing for me. I went in and I said, they asked me, you know, which was surprising to me because I was surprised that they got right to the point. They said, why do you want to be a financial advisor, right? And I was actually taken back for like 3 seconds because I was like, wow, they're really asking why do I want to be here, you know? Where do I start Googling the answer, right? Why do I want to work here? But I got personal, but I got very engaging, you know, and I said the main reason is because I saw my parents and I saw how they could have used one, and you know, finance is very important to me. And I tied all those things, but I was genuine about it. And then, you know, after that process, which was basically August, you know, that was when I gave you a call, and I was trying to gauge the interview with you, and you said, okay. He gave you the business card. Seems like it went well. September goes by.
Radio silence.
Yeah. I mean, and they said, hey, we're keeping the loop. We're interested. Just have to hear from New York. October, kind of went dead silent. I didn't want to, budge. And then November, December, and by then I'm working somewhere else. But January hits, and I said, okay, this is kind of it. And halfway through January, I get an email. Well, I did send a follow-up email, actually, saying, hey, just want to let you know I'm very interested.
Staying on their radar, yeah.
Staying on their radar, right? And they messaged me and said, hey, Eric, we are so sorry. Just had to get back from New York and the hiring process on their side. And we'll keep in touch with you. And a week later, I get a call saying that I've been hired, and they're offering me, this and this, and with this program. But it took 7 months.
Wow. How did you? Obviously, there's a. Okay, Lord, what the heck? Why is this taking so long? How did you kind of roll through that from your? How did the bedrock of your faith kind of? How were you able to not go crazy waiting?
I think the funniest thing is that God really uses our weekness to teach us a lesson and also strengthen us, right? Because I was so discouraged about the whole hiring process, not hearing back. But throughout the whole time, I think it was what you said a lot of times. You were on the call and you're saying, hey, Eric, if they give you a call back, that's great. But your new job that you have now, you work the best of it and kind of see where you go from there. And I realized, there is no perfect first job, which is true, because for me, the best job is my second job now, But I think it's the patience aspect, because I lacked that throughout, college and even now. And for me to kind of have that be a teaching point was a real blessing.
And that's the tough part, is sometimes I use this phrase, the long arc of our lives, and sometimes students, and I did it when I was 20, you get fixated on what's the long arc of my life. rather than focusing on what are the things that are right in front of me that I have and can pursue, and as things happen, you know, God just kind of keeps moving stuff around in your life and putting things out, and you just pursue those. You have decisions to make.
Yeah.
Once those things are in front of you, so that's awesome. So okay, if you could tell your 18-year-old Eric, what to worry about and what not to worry about, knowing what you know now, what would you tell him?
Okay.
Nailed it! First try.
Okay.
I think if I could tell my 18-year-old self what to not worry about and what to worry about, I think what I should worry about, I'll start with that,
Sure.
is trying to figure out what you genuinely enjoy and how that relates to your career and your goal.
Yep.
That's a phrase that I feel like Westmont throws out a lot, right? And a lot of students kind of let it pass by. But for me, yesterday was 2013 walking on campus, you know?
Yeah.
And 4 years went by so quickly, and now I'm, you know, post-grad. And I think the main thing is, you know, genuinely take seriously what's your calling, you know? What do you enjoy? Why do you enjoy
You're
it?
drawn to, yeah.
Exactly.
Yep.
And I think, you know, take seriously the idea of career development, you know, the career calling, because that's what's guided me, you know, and put me in a position to, you know, better myself and better, like, what it means to be a good steward of God, you know? Not just, you know, for myself and my career, but genuinely, like, what is God calling me to do? I think the other part is, you know, what not to worry about. I think, you know, don't worry about what necessarily your first job is, and don't worry what everyone else is doing, but genuinely worry
Sorry,
about.
I'm having trouble with the connection.
Siri wants to engage.
Someone's phones.
Yeah, yeah.
Acting up.
I
Keep
think
going.
I think you should worry about how are you doing now from a month ago and a year ago. Like, really gauge yourself. If you gauge yourself with other people, then you'll always be at the bottom, you know? Because everyone's kid's going to Harvard, everyone's kid's becoming a doctor, everyone's kid's becoming the best financial advisor or whatever, right? But if you really worry about where you're going the next month and year, I think you'll be in good hands, you know, because you're always putting yourself in check. You're saying, this is where I'm at now, this is where I want to be.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, thank you and congrats. Great for you to come all the way up from LA, and wish you the best. It's been great to field questions from you, and that's the thing that sometimes recently minute alums don't know. They can reach back to us. We're happy to help them out and give them some pointers. And everybody needs a bird dog in life, kind of pointing their directions. And but like Cliff said, you know, you got to do the work. So we're happy you did the work, and you were patient.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. All right.
Thank you.
Thanks for joining us.
Yeah.